Good afternoon, and welcome to my channel. I am at another entrance to the Spirit of Tuscarora Trail. It's off of Tuscarora Mountain Drive where the Locust Creek crosses. And I haven't videoed this section. So it's all new. It's new to you. And as you can see, no snow. The snow is gone here in northeast Pennsylvania, as it always is. Never stays long, does it? So I am on this trail, this grand trail, for a reason. I was fortunate enough to meet Pappy Nouse. And so I am going to have a little chat about him. It's another story here on the Spirit of Tuscarora Trail. So I am meandering. I do like that word, meandering, along the Locust Creek. And before I get into the Pap story, I wanted to first mention that while we were talking, he mentioned to me that an article was written about him by an author by the name of Cindy Ross. And it took me a little bit of a time to find out that, yes, Cindy Ross did write an article about him, and it was in the Pennsylvania magazine. So I had the fortune to have met Cindy Ross. And she sent me the article from the Pennsylvania magazine. So some of the stuff that you're going to hear from me is then from her article. So Cindy is not only a magazine article writer, but she has written numerous books. One particularly that I'm going to get. The first one is her hike, her and her husband hiking the Appalachian Trail, and I believe she told me it was 1978, a long time ago. The Appalachian Trail was quite different then than it is today, but it would be a very interesting book to read, and I may say a little bit more further on that in the video. So I want to thank her very much for sending me the article. I enjoy it very much. It is in the September-October 2022 Pennsylvania magazine. It is called The Trailblazer, and hopefully I can share that with you in the description down below. So there again, thank you, Cindy. So very shortly, I come across a familiar bridge. The trail marked by a red blaze then will continue up the side of that small hill, and the parking lot then, the upper parking lot would be to the right, and the Spirit of Tuscarora Trail then continues onward, and I'll be on that a little later. But here is where I first walked into Pap. And we had a nice conversation. I didn't really know him that well then at that time, but it was a joy to talk to him. So we had a nice chat right here. That's where I first met Pat. We were talking for a while, this and that, what he does here. And I showed him this. Now if you remember from another video, I said that I had found myself down into the lake inlet, walking along the trail, and before you know it, the trail became the inlet, and I was sinking down pretty much to past my ankles, and I got myself out of there. But while I was doing so, I found one of these. So I asked it about it, and he told me the story, and I said, well, would you mind, can I videotape you telling me that story? And he said, sure, okay. And he did. And well, I'll let you listen to it.
Hello.
Well, yes, I have walked into a volunteer, and he has a story to tell.
Hi, my name is Pat. I've been out here for 34 years, and yeah, I'm being showed something interesting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you. What is that? I found that.
Okay. What he found is a freshwater mussel, and this mussel is called a pearl-shelled mussel. Now, when it's wet, you could actually see in the sunshine a nice mother of pearl sheen on here. This one's been probably pulled out of the stream by a muskrat or a raccoon or something like that, and was obviously devoured and has been sun bleached for quite some time. But yeah, these things can live over 150 years. It's an amazing thing. When I first started coming out here 34 years ago, I looked down and I saw these, and I said, wow, kind of neat. And I did a little research on them. Penn State was up here about 40 years ago and did a study on these things. These are called pearl shell mussels. They're unique in the fact that they only right now reside in about maybe 6 other creeks in all of Pennsylvania. They need very special clean water and other certain conditions for them to thrive. They used to be found a lot on other streams that we have around the area, but between the mining and other collecting and stuff like that, they used to collect these things many, many years ago before the age of plastics. And when this had the mother of pearl sheen, they used to use them to make buttons and, you know, fret inlays for guitars and stuff like that. So they were over collected, and then of course urban sprawl and mine pollution kind of caused a problem. But yeah, these things are very unique. They're so unique. There's some places on this creek that you can find maybe beds of 10 to 20 to 40 of them just sticking their head up like that. They're filter feeders, so they suck water in, take whatever they need out of it, and blow the water out. And they're a good indication of how clean a stream is, because of the fact that they will not grow or thrive in any kind of polluted water. These creeks out here at this park are probably the cleanest creeks in Schuylkill County, only because they've never been affected by mining or anything like that. But from what I've read, yeah, that's how they can live up to 150 years. They have a neat growth cycle too, because just the way they survive, you know, the female's looking for sperm that the male deposits in the water sometime in June, and then finally, if it finds a sperm, it'll take the sperm in and fertilize its eggs, and eventually it'll shoot out its eggs into some unwary fish's gills, and then those young eggs will hatch inside the gills of probably what's normally called one of our trout. In fact, they use trout species specifically to spawn in, and they'll hang in those gills for quite some time, and then they'll finally drop off and start their life cycle and begin their own life cycle as an adult pearl shell mussel. So that's unique. Yeah, you found quite a cool thing here.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Why,
that was
sure.
great, Pat. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Cindy Ross, article writer, Pennsylvania Magazine, author, numerous books. She's a nature lover. Of course, still loves hiking. Married to her husband, Todd. And she works with the veterans. Those veterans, especially from the Iraq War, who have their difficult time navigating through life. And Cindy works with them and helps them. And she does this through the Appalachian Trail. So thank you, Cindy, for that, being a veteran. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy. I appreciate that and commend you for that. So she writes in her article about Pap, about his the way Pap found this place, and he did so mostly by canoe. So he'd come in here into this section, and he'd get out of that canoe and he'd start to wandering around in here, and he started cutting things out, started making trails for himself. And as you can see in other videos and in this one, it's not an easy, especially in those times, to do so. A park ranger approached Pap one day and he said, oh, you're the guy that's doing all this. And Pap said, yeah. And so the ranger wanted Pap to adopt this area, this trail. And Pap, and I'm saying a quote now from Pennsylvania Magazine, Cindy Ross's article, Pap says, I don't have to adopt it. I gave birth to it. And, well, I asked Pap about that as we were walking on the trail. He was showing me around a bit, and let's listen to him tell how he found this trail. So what brought you here 34 years ago?
It was quite fun. Up 309, where the Walmart is now, up here on 309.
Right.
I was just going shopping up there. There was another kind of grocery store at the time, so, and I saw this sign. I was coming in from Tamako, and it said Tuscarora State Park, wide off that way. So I came back here. And I drove in. I never heard of a place or anything like that. Again, I was always out at Beltsville. And the first thing I did was I drove down to where the beach parking lot is. I got out and walked around. Have you been down the beach parking lot?
Yes.
And to see all the different buildings down there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they were active, they were beautiful buildings. Now they shut them all down because they're falling apart apparently, and they can't fix them. But to see all that the first time, the beautiful, beautiful deck around the concession thing and all that stuff, it was just an amazing thing. And I saw the lake was there, and I decided, well, come out and canoe on the lake. And the first time I came around the cove, or first time I came around the main body of the lake and saw that cove where the creek flows in, something just went off in my brain. I said, this is just so beautiful back here. It's just so magically beautiful, and it was so clean. I mean, to look down through 6 foot of water, crystal clear water, and see the bottom like it's right below you, was just like, wow. And then so many other things have happened when I got out that canoe and started exploring and stuff like that. maybe.
I'm sitting under a hemlock, pine hemlock. It is no ordinary hemlock. It's a special hemlock. As Pap and I were walking along, he took me in here and he showed me this. And I could tell how proud he was of his hemlock. Pappy's Pine, I've called it. Pappy's Pine Hemlock. And it's been an honor, and I am so elated that he took me in and showed me this.
You know, the branches and stuff like that. That's where the white pine grows. Every branch is equal to a year's worth of growth. Now I started all the way at the top there many years ago and tried to count them down. And I stopped about 180 or 84 or so down near this area here. So this is probably at least maybe a 200-year-old tree or so, maybe even more. Because you kind of have to extrapolate, you know, all the small branches that came off of it as it started getting older and older. But it's interesting, the growth of it itself is interesting because of the fact that because the white pine's growing from the top, only if the top growing part of the tree gets damaged, then what will happen is the horizontal branches will tend to become vertical trunks. And that's kind of what happened here. Many years ago, this may have been one tree and something happened to the growing tip of it. And it just started doing this. And sometimes, you know, there's other factors and stuff like that. I think it's one tree. I haven't got anybody out here to do any core samples to see if it's one or two trees, but to me it looks more like one tree. But whatever it is, it's definitely awesome. I feel the power by it when I get by it, you know? And the storms that it's survived, all the cold weather and everything. So yeah, it's always a wow moment for everybody who visits. There's no doubt about that.
Cindy writes in her article, Pop came in here and he wanted to find secret places. He wanted to find some tranquility. And so he did so. He came in here, got out of that canoe, started crawling on his hands and knees, started cutting away brush, rhododendrons, pines, and began creating. After all these years, then he still has this tranquility, has his secret places. And I'm just beginning to find mine here on the Spirit of Tuscarora Trail. So we walked through here together, talking. He was telling me about his 30 years of here. I enjoyed it so much. And we came upon here, and this was not unfamiliar with me. I had stopped here with my brother. I stopped here myself. But he told me, he said this was a special place because he would sit there in his secret spot in his tranquility. And I am wondering if he listens to the music of Locust Creek as it meanders its way down to the lake, making ripple music. Soon after, we walk to here. And here he tells a story.
In the fall, it's full of mushrooms, so it's decaying. It's going to take a while.
So this is what you call the spirit tree.
Yeah.
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 I can see why.
On this side, it almost has a caricature of an eye, a nose, and a floppy ear. No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it's survived many years.
Well, how about that? Very few ever know that this spirit tree, like how can they ever find it?
I know. Well, it's on the red trail now.
Because it's your spirit tree.
It's my spirit tree. And a lot of people have said that I think this is the spirit tree. And I said, yeah, you're right.
You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think you are the spirit of
Well,
Tuscarora
some people call me
Trail.
that, or a shaman, I don't know.
I think you are, yeah. How about that?
I'm like Charlton Heston on
Yeah.
on the Ten Commandments. I think I'll dwell in this place. But no, this is, it's just one of the other things that made me go, wow. Again, my first foray was up the creek here before I even started walking through this stuff. And I just came over and said, holy Christmas, look at this. And again, it was healthier. I mean, here's the remnants of the tree that fell down 2 years ago. Got blown down, actually. So he was sticking up kind of proud.
So this is not an unfamiliar place either. I was so elated there again, and it was just great to hear Pap's story about the spiritual tree. I had heard about the spiritual tree one place, or I read about it on a brochure, but it didn't mean anything to me. It didn't really say too much. It just said there was a spirit tree out here. So the first couple of times I was here, I didn't know. But I want to thank Pap. You know, he brought me out here, he told me the story, and now I know what it means to him, and what it means to me, and what it means to you. The spirit tree, here on the Spirit Trail in Tuscarora. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. I had said that Pat may be the spirit of Tuscarora. And afterwards I thought about that and I said, no, I don't think so. But there is nobody, there is not a man that isn't as close to the spirit of Tuscarora than Pat Nouse. He told me a story, and he told Cindy a story, and it's in the Pennsylvania magazine, and you can read that yourself. In the early day, he was by the Locust Creek. This may or may not have been the spot. He didn't say where it was. But he said a trout came up. And he reached his hand down. Pap reached his hand down. And touched him. Touched the fish. And it came to that neither one of them could believe really what was happening. And until they did so, there was some time passed by of that. Then, of course, then the fish realized what's going on and took off. I think Pap writes that was a sign. It was a sign for him. He tells that story. Read it. Enjoy it. So just a little while ago, a young lady and her German Shepherd came walking up towards me, and the dog was on a leash, but the dog is growling at me, showing me teeth, showing me his eyes. He doesn't look too happy. And she said, he likes my hat. And I say to myself, well, I'm glad he doesn't like it. Does this hat make anybody there growl? Does it make you growl? Do you like my hat? The spirit's with me. One Locust Creek was higher at some point, maybe a few weeks ago. Then you can see these mullets. There they are. And there is a smaller one over in here, opened up. The last time that I came upon these two picnic tables was the first time I had been out through here. I was hungry and my brother was hungry. And we looked and we said, aha, perfect. But being an old timer, then I had a choice. Did I want to sit there? Or this new-fangled one here? Lunch along Locust Creek. Which one did I choose? So, I'm going to end this video, I think. And what other better place than on a bench like this? Cindy had Cindy Ross, Pennsylvania Magazine. She wrote in there about Pap's interest as a child in the environment and biology and plants and stuff. And read that. There's a little bit more in there than what I'm going to say. But I met him here the other day. And by the way, I was just talking to a guy who came walking up through here. And he said he ran into Pap. Pap's down there somewhere now. And, well, I missed him, and my loss. So anyway, I ran into him down here, maybe about a 5-minute walk down here, and we spoke about that. We spoke about his interest. And he was very, very knowledgeable about the plants here at Tuscarora. And he has a Facebook page. There's a lot of information on there. And check it out. Pap Naus. K-N-A. No, I'm sorry. K-N-U-A-A-S. Yeah, check it out. So I thank you very much for for watching and hanging in with me. I know this was a long video, but I enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. Thanks for watching.